Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. And I know it's been a while since I've been in here. I wanted to give everybody a chance just to kind of get familiar or familiarize themselves a little bit more with the DraftSight software. So I figured I'd take a break and just let kind of let everybody absorb what we've gone over so far. So yeah, in this video, really what I want to do is I want to start laying out the bench work in the model railroad room. So let's just go ahead and jump on in here and open up DraftSight. And I'm going to open up the DWG file, and as you can see, I've got the perimeter of my room laid out. It's this blue color here. So those are the boundaries anyway for the room. As you can also see here, I've got the door paths, where they would swing open. This door leads to the outside through French doors, and this door here leads out through a side door. And then I've got a closet here with the folding hinge doors. So the first thing I need to really be thinking about is how am I going to work around that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I've come to a couple of decisions actually since the last video. The first one is I've gone ahead and decided to make it a two-level model railroad. So I'm going to incorporate a helix into this layout, and I'm also going to, if I do that, I also want to go around the perimeter of the room. So that's going to force me to create 3 lift gates for each level. So you're looking at a total of 6 lift gates. So it's going to be a little bit tricky, but I think we'll be able to do it. This room is not the best design for a shelf layout. I mean, unless you just did a partial shelf layout. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. You remember back in our layer menu, we had created several layers here. Before I get started on that though, let me just I want to show you guys, I want to share with you what I've decided to do. And there's a short line railroad, the Nashville and Eastern, that runs east of Nashville. It runs actually in an easterly direction from Nashville, and it's actually like really close to where I live. So I wanted to model something that's close by, so I can get out and go take pictures and look at things and see how I can model the portions of the railroad prototypically. So the other day I looked at what it would take to model a section of this railroad that's about 10.5 miles. So the reason I wanted to go 10.5 miles is because I live here in Hermitage. So I was hoping to get it up here close to my neck of the woods, so to speak. So let me see if we can get this looking at it more perpendicular. Okay, so I think in the last video we talked about modeling about 2 miles or so. And so, by the way, Nashville is over here. This is all Nashville here. So we're just east of Nashville. This is the Cumberland River, so we're just east of Nashville. So I kind of wanted to start the layout, start my layout here, where they kind of have this these layover tracks here. I wanted to get, I don't have enough room to get in a any type of train yard or anything like that, like a flat yard or with staging yards or a hump yard or something like that. I don't really have the room to do that, but I wanted something similar, and so I'm thinking that I might incorporate this here into my layout. As you can see, we zoom in there, it looks like it's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tracks. So I think that should turn out pretty nice actually. And as you can see here, as I'm panning towards the east, I got this Y here. So I wanted to incorporate that Y in. And I've got this this spur track coming in here to this industrial park area over here. I don't know how much of that I'm going to be able to get, but there's a lot happening here at the first part of the railroad. And so as we get out here past the sewer treatment plant here, the water treatment plant, and it starts to get a little bit more rural. So I'll be able to compress a lot in this area, you know, these areas through here. I'll be able to take a lot of that out and lose a lot of that. Yeah, so I'll be able to lose some of this and pick it back up. And what I mean by that, pick it back up, is, you know, if you remember from a couple of videos back, we had let's see if I can find it here. We had this formula. Yeah, okay, so we had this formula here, and CR denotes compression ratio. So SM is scaled miles. That's how many scale miles my layout is. And then the total miles is the number of miles that I would like to model. So so really the first thing that we got to do is we got to figure out, you know, the scale miles. You know, what is it, how much, you know, how many scale miles can we get in our layout, and then determine how many total miles that we're going to be trying to model, and then we can figure out what the compression ratio is going to be. So like I said, you know, we'll be able to compress a lot of this. I would like to get the overpass here over the river. This is the Stones River here. Nice walking trails. I walk this trail all the time. It's a nice area. And then we've got a rock quarry not too far from here. Here's the rock quarry. So I wanted to incorporate this rock quarry into the layout. We've got a couple of major main roads or arterial roads or state highways that we've got to cross. So so we'll have to deal with that. And then at the terminus of my layout, or not really the terminus, but at the end of the 10.5 miles, this area right here, this is actually a train depot here. It's the train that'll take you into Nashville. So it's actually, there's a passenger train that runs into Nashville every day. So I don't know if I'm going to incorporate that in my layout or not, but we'll take a look at it and see how that goes. So those are kind of, you know, those are like some of the main physical features of this 10.5 miles that I would like to include in my railroad. So, you know, with that in mind, you know, like I said, our next step is just to try to figure out how many scale miles we're going to be able to have in our layout. So basically, for me, I'm going to be able to, you know, if I'm going to do a shelf layout that's 2 levels, I'm basically going to be able to double everything. So let's go ahead, and I've got this layer here called edge. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the edge layer, and the first thing I'm going to do is just draw a polyline. Remember, the PL is the command for polyline, and I've got my object snap turned on here. So I just want to draw a straight line from there to there, and then I just want to offset that line. So I'm thinking for my shelf layout, I'm probably going to have it extend out from the wall probably about 18 inches. So I'm going to offset that line I just drew. I'm going to offset that, well, if you remember from our earlier, I think I showed this, and sorry guys, I'm trying to remember what I showed in the previous videos. I think I showed this, but if you multiply your if you multiply your inches by 0.083, that'll give it to you in tenths of a foot. So it's whatever unit of measurement you want to work in. So, you know, for me, you know, 18 inches times 0.083 You know, that's 1.5 feet, 1.49. So, you know, if I want to offset the wall here 1.5 feet, so go ahead. It's asking me to specify distance already. Let me just back out of that. So the command I'm hitting is O for offset. Turn on my cap lock. It's asking me to specify distance down here. See, so I'm going to type in 1.5, and then I'll offset that line into the room. So that'll be one edge of my layout right there. And let me pause that. I'm running a little slow here for some reason today. So now the next thing that I want to do is I want to be able to start thinking about, okay, well, where in the room do I want to put the helix? And so sorry about that, guys. For some reason I am just like running super slow right now. There we go. Okay, it's a little better. Too many processes running. Okay, so so I'm thinking about on my helix, you know, I want it to be a double line helix. What I mean by that is, you know, you have an ascending and a descending track. They're separate. So first thing I want to do, I'm just going to change my layer back over to 0 here, and I'm going to draw a circle. Type in C for circle, and then I'm going to specify the center point on the screen, and I'm just drawing it out here to the side. And now I need to specify the radius. Well, obviously the greater the radius, the more smooth transition you're going to have ascending or descending the helix. So, you know, I'm thinking for a minimum radius. I don't really want to go anything less than, say, 24 inches, which is going to be 2 feet. So I'm going to type in the radius for me. I'm going to type in 2 feet, and that'll be the inside track for the helix. And then for the outside, you know, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to offset this 2 more inches to the outside. So instead of it being, you know, the outside's going to be 26-inch radius, and the inside, the circle I just drew, will be a 24-inch radius. So I'm going to offset that, and I know that in decimal form 2 inches is 0.16667. So I'm going to offset that. So there we have our 2 tracks so far. But now I need to start thinking about, well, okay, what about the edge of the bench work? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this inner track here 2 inches back in this way. Like that, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to offset it 2 inches to the outside. And so let me just go ahead and change those 2 circles that I just drew to I'll tell you what, I'll leave them on 0 layer right now, but we'll just change the color so it'll be clear as to what the actual edge is versus the track. So let me change the color here. Let's just make it yellow. There we go. So these here would be the track. I guess I could go ahead just make those. There I'm typing in, let me back up here. So down here I typed in MA. That's the shortcut for match. So if I type MA and hit enter, then I can specify the entities kind of that I want to match to. So I'm going to select our track, and then I'm going to come over here and select these 2 circles. As you can see, it turns them into the track layer. Okay, so now that I've got kind of a rough idea of what I want my helix to look like, what I'm thinking is that I can have a track in the back here that runs around the back side of the helix and comes out this way. That way I'll be able to continue, have a continuous run without having to, you know, ascend or descend the helix and go up to the next level and come back down every time. I can keep it on you know, the first level if I want to. So I'm going to change my layer. I'm going to go back, make my current layer edge, and I'm just going to draw another polyline here and here. Whoop. Here. No. There. And again, I just want to offset this line, and I want to offset this line. So the pilasters that I'm going to be bolting to the wall for this layout, you can see here, remember the green, these little green blocks here, those denote the wall studs. So the pilasters that I actually mount to the wall are basically 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. I don't have any drawn on here, so let me just do one here. So I'm gonna I typed in REC for rectangle. I'll do that again, and then I'm gonna type in D for dimension. Remember, these little blue commands down here are like dynamic, so if I want to type in the dimensions, I would type in a D here. So I'm going to type in D and specify the horizontal distance. Well, let's see, if it's 1.5 inches, that's going to be, that's 1.5 times 0.083. That's about 1200s, so it's going to be about 1200s by 1200s. So I'm typing 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. There we go. So that's about the size of the pilaster. Now, I get these pilasters at Lowe's. You can get them in 8-foot lengths, and if you go back and look at some of the earlier videos that I've done on the Alvaville Railroad, especially during the earlier construction videos, you'll see how I mounted these pilasters, bolted them to the wall studs with lag bolts. So let me just fill that in with a color. I don't know if we talked about hatching or not. I think we did, but the command, if you type in BH, it brings up this dialog box, and then you can select the pattern that you want to fill with. So like this would draw like little lines, but I want it to be solid. So I'm going to click the little ellipses here and go to custom, no, sample, yeah, sample, and find solid, there it is, and hit OK. And then I'm going to come up here, it's asking me for the boundaries for the hatch, and I'm just going to specify the entity, which we just drew that little rectangle. So I'm going to click on that, and then click on that, and then right click or hit enter, and hit OK. And there we go. So there we have our pilaster. So I'll show you guys the reason I'm drawing this here in a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy those. Copy that again. I'll have to come back and move that one. I guess it's probably good my computer's running a little slow, that way you don't have to, you can kind of see what I'm doing. I have a tendency to want to go too fast, and I apologize for that. Let me move this one. There we go. Okay, so the reason I have, well, let me go ahead and add them. I'm just going to go ahead and add them to the whole room. That way it'll be one step ahead. Let's copy that one right there. And obviously that's not there in the door, so I don't know how that one got there. If you can see, let me roll in here. You can see I'm waiting for the the little triangle to pop up, which tells me that it's snapping to the midpoint of the green box or the wall stud. You probably can't see it. I can barely see it, but there is a little triangle there. Okay. Erase that one, erase that. And I think this one right here got off a little bit. Yeah, this is almost like watching paint dry. No, we'll get busy here in a second. Okay. So the reason I wanted to draw those was because, you know, I'm going to have my backdrop in here. So obviously the backdrop's not going to be, I'm going to be using hardboard, by the way. So I don't want, you know, I don't want to put, if I'm going to be running some track up here close to the back edge of the wall, I want to make sure I'm not going to conflict with that backdrop. So for right now, let's just go ahead and let's go ahead and just put a backdrop in temporarily. So I'm just going to draw a line from there, polyline from there to there, and then I can go ahead and draw one. From here to here like that. And let me just go ahead. I'm almost going to make that perpendicular. If I can get it to go perpendicular, what about to this line? Tell you what I can do. I can turn on the ortho command. I just wanted to draw a straight line straight down like this for right now. So that's why I did that. So now I'm going to type in F for the fillet command, and I'm going to specify a radius, and I'll show you what that does here in a second. So I'm going to specify a radius of let's go 1 foot and see. Let's go 1 1/4. Let's go 1.25 and see what that looks like. Oops. Let's try that again. Fillet, and specify the R for radius and type in 1.25. There we go. And select this entity and select this entity. There we go. That's a nice smooth curve. So this is going to be my hardboard for the backdrop. So let's do the same thing on this other side. There. Okay, so yeah, I don't, again, you know, when I get ready to move this over here, turn off the ortho command. You know, I want to make sure I give myself enough room to get another track back there. So I tell you what, let's just offset for right now. Let's just offset this top line, this top circle here, another 2 inches. There we go, and we'll change that back to white, and that'll be we'll say that's going to be our outside track here. So let's go ahead and move all this back over into here. So again, I want to stay off the backdrop. I want to give myself plenty of room. So I'm thinking probably about right in there is probably pretty good. That way I have plenty of room from this, what's going to be a track here to here. In fact, we can go ahead and match that. Match this to this. There we go. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out how, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, somehow have the edge of the bench come through here like this for the helix. So guys, I think this video is starting to get pretty long, so I'm gonna go ahead and kill it here, and I'll get another video uploaded real soon, real quickly, and we'll pick up from where we left off, because I know, you know, there may be some of you out there who are like, I've been waiting to get started on this, and like I said, I just want to give everybody a chance to kind of get up to par with the CAD program. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.